Look at the screen you're holding right now.
Yeah, the one probably right in your hand.
Exactly. I mean, if you are like most people, you probably view it as the ultimate spiritual distraction.
Oh, absolutely.
It's this glowing rectangle of glass and silicon, and it's basically pulling you away from focus, from, true presence.
From the people sitting right in front of you.
Right. But what if we have it completely backwards?
This is a huge question.
It is. What if the very algorithms and microchips that you think are ruining your attention span were actually engineered to teach you how to find God?
Wow.
So, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are exploring a really remarkable Jewish text, and it's titled Help from Above Disguised as Technology.
And I just love that title.
Me too.
Yeah.
And the mission today is to, well, flip our modern anxiety completely on its head.
Right. And what's fascinating here is that it requires a total paradigm shift. I mean, we spend our days utterly immersed in this digital architecture, and almost always we only look at the surface.
Yeah, we're consumed by it.
Exactly. We're consumed by the notifications, the endless news feeds, the immediate demands on our time.
Just reacting constantly.
Right. But if we peel that surface back, if we look deeply at the underlying mechanics of how these tools actually function, we find an astonishing roadmap back to spiritual awareness.
And to really grasp the weight of this roadmap, we first need to understand the world before screens.
Really do.
We have to look at the specific spiritual loss humanity experienced to understand what this modern technology is actually attempting to restore. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
I want you to imagine a time, centuries ago, when faith wasn't this exhausting intellectual struggle.
It wasn't a debate.
Right. It wasn't a philosophical debate you had to win. The reality of the Creator was as intuitive and undeniable as the morning light.
It was a completely different state of being.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't need heavy theological maneuvering to feel connected to the divine.
You just felt it.
Exactly. There is a foundational Jewish text on ethics,
Yeah.
the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, which captures this reality beautifully.
What does it say?
It instructs, know what is above you, a seeing eye, a hearing ear, and all your deeds are written in a book.
Wow.
And for those early generations, that wasn't abstract poetry. It was a lived reality. They genuinely felt that seeing eye upon them in their homes and in the marketplaces.
But that intuitive feeling eventually shatters.
It does.
We see a massive historical shift, which was largely driven by the movement known as the Haskalah, or the Enlightenment. And the paradox here is really profound.
It really is, yeah.
Because the Enlightenment branded itself as the dawn of pure reason, literally presenting itself as light.
Right, like illuminating the dark.
Exactly. It promised to elevate humanity through strict empiricism and observable science. But from a spiritual perspective, it actually brought a dense, heavy obscurity.
Yeah, suddenly, for the average person, the world was reduced to this cold, mechanical watch, and the creator was just a distant, uninvolved watchmaker.
Just winding it up and walking away.
Precisely. It opened a massive door to existential doubt. Faith was demoted from a natural, unquestioned state of existence to, well, something that required immense, almost exhausting intellectual effort.
The creator became a vast question mark.
Yes. And to go from living in the warmth of a reassuring presence to feeling completely alone in a vast mechanical universe, I mean, that is a staggering burden for the human heart.
It really is. So humanity is wandering in this new obscurity, feeling isolated and increasingly demanding tangible, physical proof for everything.
Because the intuition is gone.
Right. And here is where it gets really interesting. The text we are exploring argues that the creator didn't just abandon humanity to that doubt.
No, not at all.
Instead, right as the shadow deepened, an entirely new kind of tool was introduced into the human experience.
Which is just incredible timing.
It is. And this brings us to a towering figure in Jewish thought from the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Kagan, who is widely revered as the Chofetz Chaim.
Yeah, and the Chofetz Chaim was watching the massive industrial revolution unfold all around him.
Right, factories, machines.
All of it. And while many religious thinkers looked at these roaring factories and unprecedented technological leaps as spiritually corrosive forces like things pushing humanity further from the divine, he had a completely counterintuitive take.
Which was what?
He recognized these physical inventions as divine tools. He believed they were specifically sent to help a struggling, doubting generation grasp the mechanics of simple faith once again.
So they were almost like spiritual training wheels for a society that had lost its intuitive balance.
Exactly. I love that phrasing. If people could no longer intuitively feel the creator, they needed a physical demonstration.
Proof of concept.
Right. So take the early telephone. Instead of just commanding people to believe in a hearing ear across a vast, empty expanse, this era produces a physical device.
The telephone.
Yes. It translates the physical vibration of a human voice into an electrical current, sends it through miles of copper wire, and recreates that exact vibration perfectly on the other end.
It is a physical miracle that proves distance is entirely irrelevant.
Yes. And the Chofetz Chaim taught that the telephone was introduced to remind us that God hears every single voice, no matter the vastness of the distance and, no matter how quietly it is spoken.
That completely reframes how you look at the architecture of communication.
It changes everything.
But the telephone only handles the present moment. What about the past? Because before this era, the spoken word was completely ephemeral.
It vanished.
Right. You spoke, the sound waves vanished into the air, and the word was gone forever.
Which is why the technological progression moves to the tape recorder.
Ah, okay.
For the first time in human history, sound waves could be converted into a magnetic field and permanently imprinted onto a strip of moving tape.
So the spoken word no longer vanished.
Exactly. The Chofetz Chaim saw this as tangible proof sent to humanity that every single word we speak has eternal permanence. Our words are preserved, and they matter immensely to the Creator.
Wow. So if we have a device proving that our words are heard from afar and a device proving our words are permanently recorded, that naturally leads to our action.
And it has to, yeah.
And that brings us to the camera. We construct a physical device that perfectly captures a hidden moment in time using just, light and reactive chemicals.
And the implication is stunning. If human beings, using finite earthly materials, can build a mechanism that permanently exposes and records a hidden moment, it suddenly makes it entirely comprehensible that the Creator sees and captures every single action we take.
Whether it's public or private.
Exactly. Whether it is a grand public act of charity or the most quiet, hidden bead in the dark, the film is exposed. It is seen.
Wow.
Yeah. As the human mind demanded empirical proof, the Creator allowed humanity to literally invent the physical manifestations of these divine realities.
So the Chofetz Chaim was looking at heavy, rudimentary technology like bulky tape recorders, early film cameras, and seeing the precise mechanisms of the divine.
He was seeing the underlying truth.
Right. But what happens when we fast forward to today? What does the hyper-advanced technology sitting in your pocket right now teach us?
That's the real question.
Because if cameras and tape recorders prove that every action is recorded, that is a really heavy thought. It leaves us with a critical question. What happens when those recorded actions are mistakes?
When we mess up.
Yeah. If we wander off the path, are we just doomed by the recording? Let's look at the GPS in your car.
It is perhaps one of the most stunning spiritual metaphors we have ever built.
I mean, we use it every day.
Right. Your device constantly communicates with a network of satellites orbiting the Earth, calculating a path forward based entirely on exactly where you are in this precise present moment.
Okay.
Yet inevitably, you make a wrong turn. You lose your way.
What does the GPS do?
It recalculates. Exactly. It doesn't shut down in anger. It doesn't abandon you. It instantly recalculates a fresh way back to your destination.
It provides a way out.
It represents the boundless patience and divine compassion of the Creator. The path back is always held open for us, no matter how far off the intended route we have traveled.
Okay, hold on. I love the GPS idea, but I need to push back here.
Sure. Go ahead.
Because there's a very fine line. If God is just an automatic GPS rerouting me every time I mess up, where is my responsibility?
That's a fair point.
Doesn't that imply a passive reality? I mean, I can see someone interpreting this as a total surrender of human agency. The idea that no matter what poor choices I make, the system just automatically fixes it for me without any real consequence.
That is a vital distinction, and the answer is a firm and absolute no.
Okay.
This is exactly where the metaphor demands careful handling. The spiritual concept of returning to God, which is called Teshuvah, strictly requires genuine, active effort.
It's not autopilot.
Never.
Oh.
The GPS illuminates the map on your screen, but it cannot and will not turn the steering wheel for you.
You have to actually drive the car.
Precisely. You must make the sincere, sometimes painful movement to return to the correct path. It is never an automatic override of your free will.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, God waits patiently for a person to actively choose to return. The divine compassion is the guarantee that a route is always available, but the human responsibility is the active effort required to walk it.
So the system is there, but you have to use it.
Right. The technology provides the framework of the map, but it strictly demands the friction of human agency.
And speaking of the friction of our mistakes, let's talk about the mechanics of the digital undo Command-Control-Z.
Oh, this is a great one.
We have all had that heart-stopping moment where you accidentally delete a 10-page document or ruin a complex spreadsheet you've been working on for hours.
It's the worst feeling.
You feel that absolute dread in your stomach.
Yeah.
Because in the strict physical world, causality is rigid. If you knock over a glass of water, the water spreads, the papers are ruined.
Right, you cannot unspill the water.
Exactly. We are bound by the linear march of consequence.
But in the digital realm, we have engineered a system that tracks the sequence of your actions. When you make a mistake, a simple keystroke tells the system to revert to the exact state it was in before the error occurred.
Like it never happened.
It is as if the mistake never existed. This physically mirrors the profound spiritual reality of Teshuvah we just discussed.
How exactly does it mirror it, though?
Because when a person makes a sincere, active effort to turn back to the Creator, it is not merely that the misstep is politely forgiven while leaving a lingering stain.
Right.
Divine compassion allows for the past to be fundamentally restructured. You are granted the immense miraculous dignity of starting completely anew with a clean ledger. It is an erasure of the fracture itself.
Wow, that is a deeply comforting way to frame it. But what about how we communicate with the Creator?
Okay, let's look at that.
Think about wireless networking like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We used to need thick physical cables to transfer even the smallest amounts of data.
Right, everything had to be plugged in.
Yes. Now, a router takes a massive high-definition video, shatters it into millions of invisible digital packets, and broadcasts them as radio frequencies through empty space.
It's wild when you say it out loud.
It is. And the antenna in your phone catches and reassembles them perfectly in a fraction of a second.
And this answers the how behind the mechanics of prayer. We often look at the empty air around us and think it's just a void.
It's just nothingness.
Right. But Wi-Fi proves that empty space isn't actually empty at all. It is incredibly dense, with data that just requires the right receiver to decode it.
So prayer isn't just speaking into a silent void.
Exactly. Prayer is broadcasting on a frequency. It is an unimaginably powerful, invisible network that takes every thought, every quiet request, every tear, and every unspoken sigh, and transmits them directly.
That's a beautiful thought.
And just because we lack the physical capacity to see those invisible packets of spiritual data moving through the air does not mean they aren't being perfectly received and instantly reassembled by the Creator.
And sometimes when we try to initiate that connection, we don't even have the words.
We struggle to articulate it.
Yeah. Think about the autocomplete function. You start typing a query into a search bar, you type 3 letters, and the underlying algorithm instantly anticipates the entire complex question you are struggling to form.
It finishes your sentence.
It knows what you are searching for before your fingers even finish moving across the keys.
Which points directly to the ancient prophetic promise. Before they call, I will answer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Creator reads the absolute depths of our hearts before our finite minds can even articulate the words. We do not need the perfect vocabulary or the most eloquent phrasing.
We just have to start.
We simply need to take a hesitant, perhaps even clumsy first step toward God, and the divine response completes the thought. The clarity we lack is provided for us.
But let's be honest about algorithms for a second. We experience them every day, and they often feel incredibly manipulative.
They certainly can be.
They feed us outrage or endless entertainment just to harvest our attention for commercial gain. So how do we square a commercially driven, sometimes toxic system with a metaphor for pure divine intimacy?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to separate the human application from the underlying architectural capability.
What do you mean by that?
The fact that corporations use algorithms to sell advertisements is a human flaw. But look strictly at the capability of the machine learning model.
The actual engine underneath.
Yes. We have an incredibly complex global system processing billions of data points, yet it has the architectural capacity to relate to you in a completely personalized, highly individualized way.
It curates a feed just for me.
It is a striking reflection of divine providence. God relates to each of us not as a faceless monolith, but in a completely individualized manner. tailored meticulously to our specific soul and our unique spiritual need.
And it shows us our own internal capacity as well.
How so?
We see the modern phenomenon of screen immersion, where human beings can spend 10, 12 hours a day completely locked into a single digital feed, ignoring the physical world entirely.
Right, which is deeply concerning on a behavioral level.
It is.
But while that specific behavioral addiction is a modern tragedy, the underlying capacity it reveals is genuinely miraculous.
Wait, miraculous?
Yes, because it proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that the human mind and heart are entirely capable of total, unwavering immersion.
Oh, I see what you mean.
If a person's soul can be completely consumed by the changing pixels of a digital feed, it demonstrates that we possess the exact internal architecture required to be completely immersed in devotion to God. The capacity for profound, uninterrupted focus and connection is fundamentally built into our design.
We simply have to choose the target of that devotion.
Exactly.
And we also have to choose what we trust in a physical world that feels incredibly fragile. Hardware breaks. Think of the sinking feeling when you drop your phone on the pavement and the screen shatters, or you spill a cup of coffee on your laptop.
A total disaster.
In the past, that meant everything was gone. But now, we have the architecture of cloud storage.
Cloud storage is perhaps one of the most spiritually comforting technological realities we have engineered.
Really? Comforting.
It is a stunning illustration of the eternity of the soul. Your data is not tethered to the physical device in your hand. It is distributed across massive server farms globally.
So the phone itself doesn't matter as much.
Right. Your specific phone might be crushed or destroyed,
Hmm.
but the data, the photos, the memories, the essential information that actually mattered remains completely untouched.
So the hardware decays, but the essence is decoupled from it and perfectly preserved.
It is the perfect functioning metaphor for human mortality. Our biological hardware, the physical body, is fragile, finite, and will eventually pass away.
But the data is safe.
Yes. Our essence, our soul, and the ledger of good deeds we have accumulated throughout our lifetime are preserved forever in the higher spiritual realms. Nothing of true value is ever lost or deleted.
That takes us right back to the beginning.
Exactly. It fulfills that ancient reality we spoke of at the beginning. All your deeds are written in a book. The divine servers are eternal.
And while we are still operating here in this physical realm, we have been granted an unprecedented historical gift: instantaneous access to global wisdom.
We really have.
Right now, a person sitting alone in a room can instantly connect to the greatest minds in quantum physics, in cellular biology, or in mathematics, and we must treat that accessibility as deeply sacred.
It shouldn't just be taken for granted.
Right. Every single time we uncover a new layer of how the physical world operates, every time we map a new genome or discover a new physical law, it shouldn't just be a sterile fact. It should naturally evoke a profound sense of awe before the creator who designed that intricate system.
For the listener who is still searching, still wrestling with doubt, every scientific discovery is a door waiting to be walked through.
Beautiful.
And for the listener who already lives with faith, every new piece of knowledge is a window that allows them to see the breathtaking majesty of the Creator with even greater clarity.
So what does this all mean? We have mapped a journey from the Chofetz Chaim analyzing the copper wires of early telephones to the machine learning algorithms shaping our reality today.
It's been quite a journey.
How do we synthesize these mechanics into a perspective you can carry forward when you unplug from this deep dive?
I believe the synthesis is found in a profound teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, a great spiritual master.
What did he teach?
He taught regarding the verse, God is your shadow on your right hand. Consider the strict mechanics of how a shadow operates. It perfectly and instantaneously mirrors your movement.
We move, the shadow moves.
Exactly. We move, God moves. We turn, he turns. When we make the active physical choice to return, he returns. Technology, in its truest and highest essence, is acting as a physical reflection of this exact spiritual dynamic. It is laying bare our own internal spiritual mechanisms by rendering them in silicon and code.
We are living in what is undeniably the most distracted, overstimulated generation in the history of human civilization.
Without a doubt.
Yet at the exact same time, we have been handed the most sophisticated, intricate physical metaphors ever conceived to help us comprehend the Creator.
It's all right there.
It is an open invitation. Whatever your profession is, whether you are a programmer writing code, an engineer designing systems, a doctor examining scans, or an educator, pause today. Look deeply at the specific mechanical tools you use every single day and ask yourself, What does the underlying technology in my specific field teach me about the nature of God? Every new discovery should evoke awe.
For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of God as the waters cover the sea.
The next time you reach into your pocket to pick up your phone or sit down to open your laptop and initiate a connection to the invisible network of the internet, remember our starting point.
Keep the paradigm shift in mind.
Realize that you are not merely holding a disposable piece of hardware or a screen designed to distract you. You are holding a profound spiritual metaphor.
Help from above disguised as technology.